Hello, George Kaplan here with another product review. This time it's the Skyshark Hawker Tempest Mark V kit. This is a build-it-yourself kit for 60 size power plants. Let me say that if you want to build this kit, you'll need to be an experienced builder. Here's everything that's included in the box. You'll see lots of wood, some laser cut, some sheeting, and some sticks. Vacuum formed plastic parts are in the lower left, and you also see a fiberglass cowl and a metal spinner. What you don't see here is much hardware. Dubro provided a complete hardware package for us, and you'll see that in use throughout the video. The build starts with the center section of the wing. It's traditional spar and rib construction, and you'll need to choose retracts or traditional fixed gear up front. Robart provided their electric retracts, robo struts, aluminum wheels, and diamond treaded tires to go in the Tempest. Shown here, the main gear is attached to the wing, and I'm using it as a template to create the wheel well. This is mentioned in the manual and is made up of spare 1/16 inch sheeting, but it's left up to the builder to figure out. Both the ailerons are operated from a single servo that mounts in the center of the wing. Dubro's belt cranks were mounted in each outer wing panel. I was careful to make sure everything worked smoothly because once the wing was sheeted, I couldn't access them again without cutting into the wing. The same holds true for the wiring. It's hard to get to the Retract's wiring once the wing is sheeted, so make sure everything works first. I've highlighted these two round discs. These are not part of the kit. I made these up to reinforce the cutouts of the wing sheeting. When all three sections are finished, they're all sheeted. Note that the leading edge of the wing has a bunch of tiny cuts that don't go all the way through. This allows the leading edge to be bent easily. Thin CA was then wicked into each of these cuts to strengthen the wood. Here's the underside of the wing sheeted with rough cutouts for the wheel wells. These were later trimmed for a more precise fit. The fuselage is made up of a bottom half mated to the top half. One thing to note here is that there are no lightning holes or large access holes cut into most of the formers. 2 plywood crutches need to be soaked in an ammonia solution, then bent to match the shape of the fuselage. I wrapped the pieces around an old baseball bat and allowed them to dry to shape. Here you can see some of the trimming and holes I had to cut into the fuselage to allow airflow through to cool the batteries. This is one of the vacuum formed pieces, specifically the belly pan. Quite a bit of cutting and trimming were needed to get this to fit in place and look like it should. Here's a shot of Robart's electric retract units, their robo struts, their aluminum wheel hubs, and their diamond treaded wheels in action. Note the speed that the gear will retract and extend. This can't be adjusted, but it is a nice scale speed. This is a close-up of the starboard gear in action. I love the look of these new Robart aluminum hubs and the diamond treaded pattern of their rubber wheels. Here's a couple shots of the rear of the fuselage with the tail surfaces attached. There's a bit of time needed to shape and sand all of the blocks and the sheeting to match the contours of the Tempest fuselage. With all the major building completed, I sat the Tempest on its wheels for the first time and snapped these shots. You can see the vacuum formed wing fairings are trimmed and blended into position. You can also see a bit of wood I added between the ribs and all of the control surfaces. This gave the hinges something to grab onto other than the thin 1/16 inch sheeting. Skyshark hinted about electrifying this Tempest, which I've done here. You can see that the mount I worked up from plywood is in place, and also I worked up a mount to place the ESC in the lower part of the cowl so the airflow from the chin's opening would keep it cool. This is the original Skyshark spinner painted red, and it's held in place with one of Dave Brown Products adapter nuts. I had to modify the internal structure of the fuselage to accept the 6S battery. Here's the tray, and it runs up to the firewall. After the battery compartment is where I placed the servos, receiver, and Robart's retract control box. I found this color scheme online, and this particular full-scale Tempest was made too late for active service. Instead, it spent its operational life towing targets for air-to-air gunnery practice. The undersides are painted with black and yellow stripes to make it obvious that it was the tug, not the target. All finished, the electrified version of the Skyshark Tempest came in at 8 pounds on the nose. It's a little heavy, but just at the upper limit of what's called out in the manual. Unfortunately, I can't provide flight video of the Tempest, as it was the subject of a mid-air with another model. The pilot of the other model, a stick of some sort, was rapidly climbing and hit the Tempest from below, right where the cowl and the leading edge meet. Although it was a total loss, I can still share these photos of it in action.